Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome to PlusTvAfrica's Teatime, where we run on the best vibes. We have the best conversations, and of course, we bring you our carefully brewed tea on everything concerning the entertainment scene. My name is Lydia Ajide. Of course, but here on the show they call me the luscious Lydia because if you don't hype yourself, who will? And today is a particularly exciting day for me on so many levels because, of course, I never do this show alone, but a very special. Oh my God! I'm sorry. I'm trying to contain my excitement. Mo is back, guys. Welcome back, Mo.
Thank you.
It's been a couple of weeks, and I can tell you that your fans have missed your presence.
Speaking as the number one
of course,
ambassador.
As the ambassador, the spokesperson for the Mo Fan Association.
Hey, I love it for me.
I'm so happy you're back.
Thank you. I'm happy to be back.
Yay, we missed you so much. We missed your vibes, the energy you bring to this show, the beauty, listen, the words are not enough.
Wow.
Words fail me at this point.
Gosh. I'm blushing.
But of course we need to move on anyways. But she's going to be here, so I just need to let out that excitement.
Oh,
and of course we're happy to have you guys here on the show with us. So please contribute. Send in your opinions on our YouTube channel. Just to let us know what you think about the stories and everything going on here on the show today. So today is Friday, and of course, what better time to bring back our Friday trivia now that Mo is back. I'm sorry, I'm going to make so many references to the fact that you're back on this show, so you guys bear with me today. Okay, so trivia question number one is, why do people from whatever tribe, why exactly do they have so much of an issue when they find out that another person from their tribe can't speak their language?
Another person from their tribe can't speak their language? I don't know, because they're supposed to be able to, right?
I mean, okay, so yes, I mean, like it's a good thing, of course, and obviously maybe on so many levels. I mean, like bonding, like community, even sometimes safety, especially in this Nigeria. But I mean, at the same time, I feel like we don't really talk enough about how it is kind of difficult, generally speaking, to learn languages, especially as you get older. So I think a lot of people that can actually speak their language must have started learning from when they're younger, because there's higher interest. There are all these studies that show children can, I think before age, is it 5 or 7, can learn as many as 4 or 5 languages.
Wow.
But it's the older you get, somebody's thinking of how to eat the next day, and then languages are not really their troubles. But in as much as I feel like it's a good thing, I just wonder, why do people why is it such a bother? I didn't think it's good to encourage. I feel like it's good to encourage, being a part of your culture and all that. But then you see some people that they're just bare pissed, why you cannot speak your language? You're not a true child of the soil. You're not. I'm like, no, it's not that deep now, is it?
It is, though.
It is?
It is. I think that narrative of it not being that deep is what has gotten us to where we are. And if where we are is the direction in which we're happy to continue going, then what will happen to our children? I think eventually our cultures will become extinct, and we'll just say, all in the name of, it's not that deep. And it is, because it starts somewhere. And if we are the parents of tomorrow and we have that mentality, then there's only so much we can pass on, and then there's only so much our children can pass on, and then eventually the buck stops. So it is that deep. Not necessarily for now, but it's that deep for the future, and it's that deep for the continuation of legacy, of identity, and all these other things that is related to you being African or Nigerian or Yoruba or whatever it is, wherever you're from. It's important, especially as people are relocating so much as well, because you're leaving the country where the languages are primarily spoken. Even that is debatable, because even within, for example, Lagos, although Lagos is, for example, a Yoruba-speaking state, there are still many people that I know that born and bred in Lagos, Nigeria, and even from the Yoruba tribe, that I can speak Yoruba better than, and I grew up in the UK. I find that alarming. And I think what I find even more annoying is the fact that some of those people think it's a flex.
Yeah, that's the part I don't support. It's not a flex, but like...
What's there to be proud of?
That you can speak better English, which is not actually part of your culture. I totally understand. But I mean, in terms of, you know, like in terms of like the legacy and everything, I language is obviously a giant part of culture. But I mean, there's still other parts. So
I think we want to just stick with the convenient things. So like people that, and it has annoyed me for the longest time, especially in the diaspora, children that, I say children, like my generation, whatever, that like they don't identify with Nigeria or many things that are Nigerian, but on October the 1st, you see green, white, green. I love jollof rice. I'm just like,
no,
that's cultural misappropriation even, and you're even black and
you're even black,
and it's even annoying me, like, because, do you know what I mean? Like, you're not about what you say you're about. You don't put your money where your mouth is. So I feel like if you're going to claim something, especially culture-wise, then do it with your chest. Like, why are you doing up surface level as if you're Caucasian? There's really no difference between you and them now, because our food is global, our music is global. So what actually makes you stand out? What makes you have some sort of rooting in the culture? Everybody knows about Rama these days, so that doesn't make you special. Do you get? I feel like our generation is slacking on that front, myself included.
See, this is why I miss Mo on this show, because she just always brings out the most. She just always brings out the most out of all the conversations. So this is your cue. If you still can't speak your language, at least try.
Exactly.
Even if you're going
effort.
Exactly. I think that's
just
that's
make
where
the
it is.
effort. It's not a flex. You're not cool because of it. Stop.
Actually, start making an effort. Even if it's the first 10 words in your language, go and learn it. Let's move on to our second question, and that is, why... let me not say why, but do you really think that it's, you know how the world has like moved away from, would I say, like a more communal lifestyle? Do you think that it's a good thing?
So the whole it takes a village to raise a child kind of mentality.
Yeah.
It depends on where you are, or when you say the world has moved away. It depends on where you are in the world, I think.
Sure. Okay.
Yes, I don't think you can compare like African nations or certain communities within African nations to like places in the West. So
okay, but the thing is that I feel like even in Nigeria, to an extent, it's not as would I say you know, communal living. It's not even as, would I say, rich as it was before. So before, I know my dad would tell me sometimes, like, or maybe if he misbehaves, an auntie that's not maybe related by blood and might not even be entirely close, but if she catches you doing something wrong, she will she might not even have been there once, but she will find her way to your house, or the next time she sees her parents, his parents, she'll be like, do you know that your son did something, and then so they even had that consciousness, like, I feel like it was looking anxiety, but they had that consciousness, like, I cannot even misbehave on the streets, because if they see it, they will go and tell my parents, just for an example. But it's like now, everybody is like, oh, mind your business, so, you know.
Are they?
Well, okay, I think people are more mind your business as long as it doesn't affect me.
Okay.
That kind of thing. So it's like, okay, your child can throw tantrums and do whatever, but if the tantrums reach my own child's side, that's when we'll have a problem. Or if it reaches my side, that's when we'll have a problem. And I don't know, even, you know, although this particular question was even meant to dive deeper into things like, you know, having extended family living over and, you know, but even now, I mean, now that the conversation is even diving towards this side, I mean, it's just, I don't know if I necessarily see it as a good thing. I know that generally we can't all agree on every single thing, and even though we might have like the cultures that we generally agree on and everything, but I just feel like there's just something about, you know, like a village raising a child that is not, I feel like if you try to do things alone, I think even as a general rule for life, if you try doing things alone, some things you have to, but there are some times that you just need that community. You just need, you know, like wisdom from like other aspects, not necessarily because you want other people in your business or anything like that. But I think now the world has just taken a more individualistic turn, and you know, everybody's like, okay, mind my business, mind your own. You know, like, I smile with you, I'm cordial with you, but if you come, I'll mess you up. And I mean, that's why I feel. What do you think?
I accept what you're saying. I think for me, I still believe that it takes a village, for example, to raise a child. Not talking necessarily literally, but that sentiment, right? I think for me, though, I would choose my village. So, yes, there'll be a community, but a community of carefully selected people that I think I would want their influence, for example, in my life, in whatever way. So I think I'm open to community, but I think I draw the line where it's like people that your input is not something that I think, you know, I want to take on for my life, sort of thing. And not because I want to like everything that everybody tells me, or not because I'm not open to correction, but because there are people who, you know, have your best interests. They will still correct you. And I think for me, those are the kind of people that I want in my own village. Not people that do things not necessarily from the best place or just because they can't mind their businesses. That one, you're not in my village. But yeah, I still very much believe that it takes a village to raise a child. It's just I will use my discretion to choose the village.
Okay. I think that works. Yeah, use your discretion to choose your village. And now we're going to move to the last trivia question, which is, why do parents push their children into adulthood? Like, why don't we have like a special rites of passage? I don't see any of those. I mean, maybe I just haven't explored, but I don't see any of those kind of things like in Nigeria. It's just one day, okay, well, you finish school, I've done the best I can for you in any way I can support. And then, you know, like, they're just leaving you to wing it. You know how like birds have to like learn how to fly? They will, you know, the parents like not support them. They would have to like probably like throw them out of the nest or something. I feel like a lot of times that's how it is. Really? Is it just me? I feel like that's how it is. Like, I feel like there should be some kind of like gradual ushering, but it's never really like that. It's just, it's either, oh, you know, unless of course the children have started being individual, like from a certain age. Yeah, but then generally, I think most parents are just like, oh, like you go and find your way. If you need advice, so yeah, call more. Anything that's like major, okay, call more, but go and find your way. I wonder why it's like that.
I don't know. Personally, I can't relate, so maybe...
Sorry.
No, I have to give my parents kudos for that. Like, they will always be with us, and they've made that clear. So, I'm not sure about that, but might be a good thing, because, to be honest, maybe people that have that sort of hand-holding for a long time get comfortable. And so maybe the parents are really just trying to push the kids out of the net. And yeah, find your way to fly. Once you've found your rhythm, then you can remember that, okay, there's somewhere I can come to in case something happens, but don't rely on that. So it might not even be a bad thing.
But, okay, and of course I'm not trying to, you know, but like, for example, people that, you know, live in like diaspora and have, I think it's easier to even opt yourself out of the nest as opposed to like, here where there's so much uncertainty and everything. And I mean, to be fair, you know, it's how do I say this? I mean, like our parents, let me just say they made it. Like they were able to make it through their own level, I mean, through their own time of uncertainty and all of that. So, I mean, it does make sense, you know, for them to also kind of do the same thing. But sometimes I just feel like, you know, at least like let there even just be some kind of official, like, okay, okay, fine, no, your phone bill, just for example. Okay.
Start
yeah, like start small. But I feel like sometimes they just
chuck you in the deep end.
Yeah, they're just like, you know what, you'll figure it out. You'll be fine.
Sometimes that's the way you learn to swim. Chuck you in the deep end. If you either drown or you learn how to swim.
I feel like Nigeria is just a survival ground in general. So I think that's part of why, like, I also feel, you know, like, at least in your family, like, at least let there just be some kind of, at least then you prepare your mind mentally as opposed to just be like, oh, woken up from sleep and then just tossed into the ocean or something. But anyways, those are all the trivia questions we have for you today. And we're going to move straight into our stories for today. In a shocking turn of events, the Illinois Supreme Court has overturned the conviction of Jussie Smollet, the former Empire star, who was accused of orchestrating a hate crime hoax. The court ruled that a special prosecutor's decision to retry Smollet after initial charges were dropped violated his constitutional rights. Smollet had claimed to be the victim of a racist and homophobic attack in Chicago in 2019. However, prosecutors alleged that he staged the incident with the help of 2 acquaintances. The case sparked significant controversy and garnered national attention. I honestly didn't even know that this
happened?
No, I knew it happened. Okay. I just didn't know that, like, there was still, you know,
still going on?
Yeah, like a bit of issues still surrounding this issue.
Yes, I think an appeal was going through and it's been overturned, no?
Yes, it has.
So, yeah, I remember when this happened and I don't know where the narrative came from because I didn't follow the case really super closely, but I don't know where the narrative came from of him, like, orchestrating the whole attack anyway. I don't know. But if it's been overturned and found to be against his constitutional rights, then I'm sure that there would have been a deep dive into the case and into its intricacies. And, you know, if it's the case that he actually didn't have anything to do with the attack in the first place, I really hope, like, he's not too traumatized because, like since 2019, like, these past 5 years must have been very hard for him with everybody thinking that he staged his own attack.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Like, how do you accuse someone of staging their own attack, saying, oh, 2 acquaintances helped you to... I mean, he already has enough attention. Like, why would he even do something like that? Because, no, honestly, I think the only reasonable reason for, you know, doing something like that is to gain attention, because if you're harmed in the process, you will still suffer for it. Do you understand? It's not as if, oh, he's getting paid for it, or, you know, it's a stunt or something. But, I mean, accusing someone of staging, it's just like, oh, God forbid, somebody has an accident or they break, and then you say, oh, they deliberately cut their own brakes or, you know, deliberately ran into a vehicle. I mean, that is, to me, I've always seen it as like a serious accusation, and I don't know. I really hope that he does get the justice that he deserves. Hopefully the law is able to, you know, favor him, because I don't know. I just find it outrageous. And I won't lie, I think, well, never mind, actually.
Never mind.
I was going to say, honestly, it sounds more from a racial bias perspective. Like, honestly, that's the truth.
Well, race is involved, so it's something to be considered. You know, the attack was homophobic and racist. So race is definitely involved in the matter. So it's not...
Oh, I even mean from, you know, like, from the legal side of things, you know, like the jury and all of that, because I'm sorry, I don't even want to dive into it, but it's just upsetting, like, how a person can, sort of like cry out for help, and then we're always so quick to, like, victim blame. And I understand that, yes,
it's not as if you should just close your eyes and accept whatever you see. Like, you do have to dive into the intricacies of the situation. But I think that generally society has just gotten used to victim blaming. Like, something happens, boy, you too, what did you do, why didn't you, like, can we actually even just empathize with the person first before we now start looking at the possibility, which honestly I won't lie to you, I doubt, but the possibility of him, staging his own attack and everything. We need to do better as a society. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, we really do. And I know this is like international, but then we need to do better. Anyways, we're going to move on to our next story, and we're bringing it home with Nigerian Afrobeat star Yemi Alade. She has accused Cool FM and Clout Africa of attempting to sabotage her career. The singer alleges that the media company and its music promotion platform are retaliating against her for declining an invitation to an event in 2023. Alade claims that despite her explanation for the absence, Cool FM and Clout Africa have refused to forgive her and have taken steps to hinder her music's promotion. She expressed frustration with their behavior, accusing them of forming gatekeepers and using their influence to disadvantage her. Honestly, I'm not speaking for speaking against any organization in particular, but I feel like if this is true, I wouldn't be so surprised.
Really?
I wouldn't.
Interesting. I think the truth is, with Yemi Alade, first of all, the fact that she's able to speak up in the way she has, I admire. And I think that it's very, very important that if something has gone wrong, then there is somebody that is able to call things out. Now, I think what had happened was that she was invited to a show in 2023. Or, yes, I think it was a show that she was supposed to come for with these...
Yeah.
And she wasn't able to make it, I think, and she said that she informed them, at least this is from her point of view. And they didn't respond to her or something because they were annoyed that she wasn't able to make it. Again, I don't know how much notice she gave or any of that detail. So the anger might have been justified is what I'm trying to say. I don't know the detail. And since then, I think it's been clear that they've almost blacklisted her, so that they haven't been playing her music. Like, they've taken all her music off their playlists and haven't been playing any of her stuff. And so she's calling them out in that way. Now, like I say, it'll be important to hear from their side because if there were things that were done wrong or should have been done differently, to be honest, it's within their jurisdiction. It's within their prerogative. Like, it's in their prerogative to decide that, okay, actually no, I'm not messing with you anymore, business-wise. If you couldn't do this, then why should we give you free promo?
Free promo. But, I mean, I don't know. I agree with you. But, I mean, I think that's the problem with all of these stories. You don't
only one side of the story.
Yeah, most times you only get to hear one side of the story. But at the same time, the reason I said that I wouldn't be so surprised is because I know that, I'm not, would I say, actively in the music industry or anything, but I've heard, I've had secondhand experience, yes, based on what people have said, and how all these organizations and things, they would because everyone is obviously in it for their interest. At the end of the day, it's okay, if you don't dance to my tune, then and
it's business though.
I mean, okay, maybe my own personality is just... I'm not saying, of course, if she doesn't do what she's supposed to do, then you have to continue indulging. But I feel, gatekeeping or, just being petty about things, I don't think... I feel like it's not necessarily, professional, if you get what I mean. It's different if, okay, maybe there's, another show or something, and then... maybe they just did not invite her, or they didn't just involve her, even though, okay, maybe, based off the previous one, we didn't want to add you because we're not sure you're going to be available or whatever. But it's like, okay, refusing to play her songs, or it's just, I don't know. And I feel like, of course, I'm not taking sides, but I feel based off what she said, if this happened last year, I feel like this year is practically finished. There should have been like enough time to clarify whatever it is. Well. But like now, okay, she's trying to get new music out and everything, and then they're not, they're not supporting her, or at least maybe keeping to the end of the bargain. I feel like it's just a stressful thing, like, I mean, fine, rules are rules, but at the end of the day, I feel like we should also try to just be like peacemakers, I feel even if it's business, I think at the end of the day, you should still aim for like, would I say, to be at peace with all men. I don't know if there's some sort of like professional term for that. I don't know if there's some kind of professional term for that, but I feel people are just so quick to, this person is not, I beg, let's cut ties, that kind of thing. Like, we're not necessarily, would I say, customer centered, or, if it's a partnership, we're just always hammering on, what we can get out of this. And it's true, because you hear people say things like, excuse me, don't worry, see, if it's the work, I can do it, but what are you going to do for me? Like, all those kind of things. You even down to the simple things like, you might even be in a bus, or you go to the market, and, you will see some other people, they're trying to, who you are, auntie, sit down now, they'll clean their chair, they will actually treat you like the customer that, but some other people, they'll be like, auntie, if they buy, we will be going. And I'm like, okay, like, it's not even that deep, like, it's just, like, what can I get in it for me? And fine, everybody has different priorities, generally speaking, but I feel, at least we should be able to make peace as much as possible, not always dancing to another person's tune, but at least, reasonably. So that's why I just feel like all of this drama happening, but of course I'm not taking sides, but I just feel, generally speaking, it's not that deep now, Clout. If you can, well, I don't know, Sha. Maybe when we hear the other side of the story.
Exactly.
I think that's the problem with all of these, because you always just, one person just comes out, and most of the time the other organizations are just silent and stuff. Anyways, we're going to move on to Olajumoke Speaks, the former bread seller who rose to fame after a chance to encounter with a photographer. She's bravely shared her experience of domestic abuse, and she revealed that her ex-husband, Sunday Orisaguna, subjected her to physical and emotional abuse during their marriage. Olajumoke detailed the challenges she faced, including the hostile environment in her husband's hometown and the constant fear and intimidation she endured. She emphasized the impact of societal pressures and the stigma surrounding domestic abuse, which prevented her from speaking out earlier. Despite her fame and success, she continued to suffer in silence, fearing the consequences of exposing her abuser.
Sad.
I think it's really sad. I remember, when she first came out, I don't know why.
She went viral with the bread, that picture, that bread picture. Where is that bread picture? The one that she went viral with.
I was really excited, like, this person finally got a chance. She literally just walked into Destiny, like, and then I noticed that, she had gotten quiet, but I just, felt, some of these people, not everyone will constantly, like, be in the limelight and everything, and I was okay with it. Up until I, like, saw the story and I saw how, she had been dealing with domestic violence or something. And now that I even think about it, I think around the time when she even first started, I think there were claims of, like, the domestic abuse, and really? I think she had to, like, run away with her children initially and everything before her husband came back. And then, like, now she was, like, back in this cycle. And I don't know, domestic abuse, I think it'll never be something that I get tired of, like, speaking about. And in as much as everybody always tries to say, run away, like, somebody is teaching me. I feel like sometimes we downplay how it's not exactly like the easiest thing, especially since the marriage is quote unquote, or was quote unquote consummated with, two children. But I'm glad that she spoke out. because I'm always happy when like people that are, you know, in the limelight speak out, because it helps other people that are going through similar things know that they're not
And
alone.
I think there are more than we think.
Oh,
there are more people in the limelight. There are more celebrities. There are more public figures that we think going through abuse. But again, because of their fame, because of their status, because of their popularity, there's a lot at stake, I suppose, in coming out and, you know, coming free or separating from the abusers. It's not easy. And even like with psychology and stuff, there are things like Stockholm syndrome, which mean that you're like in love with your abuser, for example. That mean that, yeah, like trauma bonding, there's lots of things in terms of human psychology that makes it difficult for victims to walk away from abusers.
Even generally, even in like, would I say a relationship that may not necessarily face maybe physical abuse, maybe just more emotional, or even people that are generally in relationships and are not maybe satisfied, it is difficult to just like throw everything, because on one hand, like, you know, you really like this person, you got to know, you know, the good side of the person and everything, and of course you're like, oh, I don't necessarily mind, you know, the bad parts, you know, at least it doesn't look so bad for now, and then all of a sudden, oh, it starts with a punch, it starts with a hit, and you know, you can't even bring yourself, because on one hand you're like, okay, just endure, hopefully things will get better, and then it doesn't, and then it just keeps getting worse. I don't know. I think I was reading that she was even, you know, facing a bit of hostility in her, I think with like her mother-in-law or something, and I don't know, I feel like I'm sorry, I just feel like if you're not even, if it's just a partner, that's fine, but then your partner and family, like, and I feel like that just makes it a whole lot worse. I also read that initially when she came, you know, I think she was being asked if she's married, and she said yes, and her friend was like so upset with her, like, why would you even call that person your husband, someone that's always hitting you all the time, always, you know, abusing. But she's like, you know, like, I have children, I can't just, you know, like say that I'm not married. But honestly, I'm glad that the marriage has ended, not because of the marriage part. No, honestly, like, if something is not good, it's not good. It's nice that, I mean, she tried her best to save it, getting a job, and that's one thing, you know, if you're with somebody that is unkind generally, and then maybe now insecure at the same time, you will always lose. That's the truth. You will always lose, because of course they're not kind to you normally, and then they're already insecure that, oh, maybe you're doing better than them, because she also stated that he would just stay home and, you know, drink. He wouldn't go out to work. She would be the one, I think even before she started modeling, she would be the one going to hawk bread and all of that, before she now was able to find favor. And it's like, okay, I was hawking bread, you still weren't doing anything. And I think, like you said, it's really difficult, because she would mention that she mentioned that she didn't even want at some point she didn't even want to like end the marriage, you know. She wants him to work. She really just wanted him to like stop hitting her. Like, what could she possibly be doing that would warrant, you know, so much abuse? But honestly, I'm glad that she's free, and I really hope that she continues to thrive, or at least begins to thrive, you know, despite all of that she's been through. I think she mentioned, you know, like, he's been trying to sabotage her career just because, you know, like, she's ended the marriage, and I don't know. I think it's like a rabbit hole that's just getting, or he's trying to make it, you know, go deeper and deeper. I mean, I'm sorry, you've been silent the whole time. I'm so sorry.
No problem. I've everything you're saying makes so much sense.
I just this is your cue. If you're in an abusive relationship, honestly, it's not going to get better, honestly, unless the abuser decides to stop abusing. It's not about what you're doing or what you're not doing. If a person is being abusive, they're being abusive, and I would advise as much as possible to seek the necessary help that you can. We're going to go on a
a quick music break since it's Friday. All talk and no tunes makes tea time a dull show. So we're going to go on a quick music break and we'll be back with more stories after our jams. See you. We hope you enjoyed all the tunes we had to play for you. And we're going to, still in the light of people being in the limelight and sharing on their struggles, we now move on to Florence Pugh, a Hollywood star, who has revealed that she underwent egg freezing at the age of 27 due to a diagnosis of polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS, and endometriosis. The actress, known for her roles in films like Oppenheimer and Little Women, shared her experience on a recent podcast episode. Pugh emphasized the importance of early health checks, particularly for women, and she explained that her diagnosis came as a surprise, given her family's history of fertility. Despite the initial shock, she took proactive steps to safeguard her future reproductive health.
PCOS.
PCOS.
Freezing eggs at 27. I think that's the main thing. People are like 27, but
so are people shocked because it's too young or too old?
young.
Young, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
27.
I feel like it's a little fair-ish.
Really?
Maybe.
At the point at which people start freezing their eggs, I think when people start freezing their eggs, it's kind of like, okay, you know what? Because if this doesn't happen now, it might never happen. But at 27, do you get?
True, 20. But then, I've heard, at I think like age 30, I think there's like a rapid
Decline.
Like a rapid decline in like the number of eggs that a woman has. So it's like at the same time, maybe like just before the rapid decline. So fair enough. But
I don't think you say that, but I don't know the number of 30-year-old women, even exposed, pragmatic 30-year-old women that would say, yeah, I'm going to freeze my eggs.
True.
I don't know the number of people that would do that.
I think even generally freezing eggs, I think the concept is still a little
foreign.
Yeah, it's still a little wild. No, wild. Okay, foreign. Yeah, let me use that word. Foreign.
Yeah.
A little foreign to me, but I think honestly, I feel the quality of life that we even live, like lifestyle wise, is really affecting a lot of women health wise, because I think even beyond, like fertility issues, if you even look at the number of children these days that have, things like maybe autism, especially the autism, I don't know. Of course, I'm not a controversial person, but sometimes it just gets me thinking, like, is there something being done underground? Because, I mean, yeah, it's not.
I'm not sure about that, to be honest. I think things now have names. It doesn't mean they didn't exist before.
No, not the would I say, not that I don't feel like they didn't exist, but I just feel like there's just a sudden uprise in the number of cases. So it's like, okay, let's say in the maybe like 1800s, children that had like maybe Down syndrome, or people that had like endometriosis. Let's just say like maybe roughly you would find like okay, let me use like a country like Nigeria. Maybe let's just say maybe like, okay, at the very worst, 1,000, Of course, I'm not giving official statistics, but, I feel like it wasn't so much, but it's like now, every day somebody is popping up with, PCOS. I remember I once had a roommate too, and she was the first person I had actually known, that actually, had PCOS, and she was even trying to really explain the concept, and I found it, I was like, I've always heard of it, from a distance, but I've never actually met anyone. And I don't know if it's the air or there's something in the water, but I just feel like it makes me very alarmed. But at the same time, I don't know. I feel like she still, pulled a good move.
Would you freeze your eggs at 27 if you hadn't had children?
Probably not. And maybe because I might need to do, because I need to do more research.
Okay.
And also because
I don't know. I think now that I think about it, it seems a little early. But I mean, I don't have, maybe PCOS or endometriosis or anything. So, I mean, there's also that. So maybe that's why there's a bit of a relaxation. But she, she felt like, or she must have felt like, there's the pressure. I definitely want to have children, so at least the least I can do, is to secure my eggs. I might not be ready for children, but if I have these conditions, I at least want to still have the eggs to be able to have children.
It's good to see things like this anyway, because I think it brings to people's awareness or consciousness what can be done, and that it's not a stigma, it's not a taboo. If you need to do these things in order to, have the kind of life that you want to have at some point, then you should be able to make that decision without fearing what society will think of you. So
especially here in
I appreciate that
beloved country, where a lot of things are still very foreign to us. You talk about adoption. Hey, no, God forbid, you will carry your own children. Like, really, guys. So, but I'm just glad that, she came out to, share her struggles, just like we were talking about just before the break, because, it helps people to know that they're not going through these things alone. And fine, people might want to say, look at her, at least she has money to freeze her eggs. But I'm like, that's not the point, guys. She came out to share her struggle. And I think we always downplay a lot of these struggles because we just feel like, it's not that big of a deal. Or maybe because of our own cultural setting, don't worry, God will heal you. Some people will say, go and join NSPPD or go and... I tell you, this country makes me laugh a lot of times.
Speaking of church, I think that's even related to our next story. I don't want to... Okay, just take the story before I say the wrong thing. I believe in church, sure, to a degree, but like...
Honestly, but just happy that, she came out to share her struggles.
Yeah.
But speaking of church, we're going to move to our last story for the day, which has taken a really rather dampened route. A Nigerian woman named Joyce Ifunanya-Chukwu, who had garnered public sympathy for her kidney ailment, has tragically passed away. Despite receiving significant donations from kind Nigerians, Joyce's condition deteriorated due to alleged mismanagement of funds by her husband. It is alleged that the husband withdrew Joyce from medical care and took her to a church for spiritual healing. Following her untimely demise, efforts are underway to apprehend both the husband and the pastor involved in this unfortunate incident.
Pastor, okay, what's the pastor's business?
If the
husband brought the pastor to... If the husband brought the wife to the pastor, is the pastor wrong for... What did the pastor do?
That's what I was about to say. Like, I hate the fact that a lot of times, pastors are innocently being roped into
that one, I know, unless the pastor advised the man not to.
Yes, that's the only condition. But I mean, if now I'm involving the pastor, it's wrong. I feel like these are the kind of stories that now make people sort of, wonder or sort of be afraid when it comes to like marriage and everything. Because what kind of partner would do something like that? Excuse me, you were able to gather funds from the public, not funds that you saved. People literally came together to save your wife's life, and then you mismanaged the funds, and then you even took her out of care. So it means it seems like it has a bit more of a, okay, well, maybe he mismanaged the funds first and then discovered that he couldn't keep up with the hospital care. But it's like the fact that you're even mismanaging the funds that you didn't even work for is already a problem. It is, and now she has lost her life. And now, I'm sorry, there are so many triggering things. I can't even lie to you. So many triggering things when it comes to this story. But I like how at least churches now are emphasizing on the fact that take care of your health. It doesn't mean, using medication doesn't mean that God is not going to save you or God is not going to heal you. God is still the one that gave us the resources that is enabling, pharmaceuticals and, medicine as a whole to be able to help people. So why would you think that, ditching all of that and then going for God purely is like the way? And don't get me wrong, of course, I feel there's a place of faith. Some people are able to do that, and based on their relationship with God and everything, and he obviously he comes through. But I just feel like it's, especially when you look at some of these situations, sometimes it's like, oh, somebody is literally maybe choking or passing out, and you're binding and casting. Do you understand what? Or you're saying, oh no, don't let's take her to the hospital. Let's take her to this place. I've also heard of stories where women will be in like, you know, labor, and I think, you know, they'll say like, oh, the best thing, maybe they're having complications, and oh, the best thing to do is to do a cesarean section. But yet they're like, no, you're not going to put my wife under the knife.
Deliver like a Hebrew woman.
Yeah, deliver like a Hebrew woman.
There will be no woman at the end of the situation, not to talk of a Hebrew.
I'm telling you.
No woman, no baby.
No woman, no
all
baby.
All of your Hebrew...
your Hebrew ideologies. It's just, I don't know, it's frustrating. And
honestly, me, I don't even have the energy to talk like Lydia. If you like, anything that happens to you, take it like that. So that's just the truth. So...
need to be very, very careful with our choices, honestly.
That's your business. If you don't have, if you can't use your sense in knowing that there is a time and a place for certain things, then go through, enjoy.
It's the calmness for me. It'll always be the calmness for me. But honestly, I think I feel like it is still my duty on this show.
Fair enough.
To not just let you guys go like that. Please, if there is a medical emergency, generally speaking, it doesn't have to be like, oh, maybe the person is dying in the next 5 seconds. But a medical emergency, don't shun medical advice or medical help just because of your faith. It doesn't dampen your faith. You are doing, you know, when God wants to help a person. I know people say, oh, heaven helps those who help themselves. But it's like, at the end of the day, fine, yes, God helps people. And of course, we always look to God for help. But there is still a part to play. God isn't coming down to, you know, he can tell you what to do or where to go. But he's not going to come down and drag your hand and make you drive.
No, I think you should wait for him to do it.
Not more coming back with the violence, but this is what we need. This is what we need on this show.
For God to drag you by the hand.
Oh my goodness. Sadly, this is where we have to draw the curtain for today. But thank you for watching PlusTvAfrica's Tea Time. The biggest shout out goes to my co-anchor, the one and only Mo, who is back to bring us everything that we need on this show.
Yes,
so stick around because we're going to be seeing more of her, just like you were seeing her before. And of course, a big thank you goes to the entire production team, the crew, and everyone that's made this show possible. And of course, to you for watching PlusTvAfrica's Tea Time. Don't forget, you can catch up on other episodes on YouTube at PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. And of course, you can contribute, join in on the conversation using the hashtag Teatime. My name remains the luscious Lydia, and I will see you on the next episode of PlusTvAfrica's Tea Time. Have an amazing weekend.